Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, you should interact, then only I feel comfortable. Yeah, again, we shall quickly, what do you call, solve one problem here, which is given in Ghostin. I think in my theory classes, I did that problem. Okay, again, the problem is, okay, you have one big sphere here. You have one big sphere here, which
Sir, can't
gives,
see your
yes.
screen,
Sir,
sir.
please share your
Okay,
screen.
wait.
On the
I haven't shared in Google Meet. Wait, okay. Yes, I'll just explain one short problem. Okay, I just came online to explain one short problem here. So I have a sphere. Okay, I have one big sphere, which is what you call, which is not rolling or moving. Okay, this big sphere of radius, let me take suppose capital R. Okay, this sphere will give the
Sir, we
surface. Okay,
can't see your screen, sir.
just check it out. I just shared.
It's visible for me.
visible for me,
Just
sir.
pin that one your screen. Okay, just pin that one to your screen. Now what I'm saying is this big sphere will just give surface. Okay, again we shall see our what you call question, the question that I'm going to design. The answer for that question will not depend on the radius of the sphere. Okay, this big sphere, again, this will give the surface for rolling or sliding of some object. Okay, again this is quite rough. You can just imagine this surface of the sphere is quite rough. Okay, now the question is, I have one small sphere here. I have one small sphere here. Again, what I do is, I have one small sphere just immediately above this one. Again, I can't draw it very proper. Yeah, of radius suppose b. Okay, a small sphere of radius b. Again, this is a solid sphere. So let me take, this is a small solid sphere. It's going to roll here. Okay, roll on this big sphere without slipping. Okay, pure rolling. I hope you remember that pure rolling idea and pure rolling constraint and all. We have seen that one. This small sphere is going to roll without slipping on this big sphere. Okay, this is the question. Again, so this is the situation. Again, you have gravity here, and this is a solid sphere. Okay, let me take solid sphere. Hmm. So it doesn't matter what is the mass of this sphere and all. Okay, let me take mass of this sphere as suppose m. Okay, mass of this sphere as m. Again, for us, it doesn't matter what is the mass of this one. Okay, suppose if I take mass of this one, this is not moving at all. Okay, our concentration on is on this one. Okay, now what I do is, I'm going to draw one vertical line here. I'm going to draw one vertical line here. This is the center of mass of this solid sphere which is rolling. Okay, now again, after it rolls down, it's going to reach somewhere this, so this kind of position. I hope you can imagine that one. Okay, now look at here. After so it will roll, and after some angle with the vertical, after some angle theta with the vertical, I'm going to define that angle here, theta. So this sphere is going to leave the surface of this big sphere. Okay, this small solid sphere which was rolling, it is going to leave the surface. Can you just imagine that one? This is one of the problem. Okay, so another problem is, again you have a big sphere, again which will give the surface. Actually, you have one small mass which is sliding without friction. Okay, which is sliding without friction. Okay, so this big sphere have got radius r. Again, this is the vertical line. Again, at what angle theta, this mass which is sliding, it's going to leave the surface of this big sphere. Okay, this is the question. Actually, this is a problem of non-holonomic constraint which can be solved by using Lagrangian undetermined multiplier, again by evaluating constraint force and all. Actually, okay, again I'm not going to what you call solve the theory here. I'm just going to apply one formula that I derived generally. Okay, Again, if you apply that formula, you can just find the answer at what angle it's going to, again, this object is going to leave the surface of this object. I'm saying object and object. Again, this just gives the surface. Okay, there is no motion of this one, there is no motion of this big sphere. Again, I call this one as an object of interest. That may be sphere, that may be a particle, that may be a ring, that may be a disk. Okay, so again, different so different object will leave the sphere at different angle. We shall see that one. Okay, what does it depend on and all. Now I hope you understood the question. Okay, again, if you have a mass which is on this big sphere, that mass, we say it is sliding without friction. Okay, if suppose there is a sphere on this big sphere, we say it is rolling without slipping. Okay, this is rolling without slipping. This small sphere, it is rolling without slipping. So remember, this may be solid sphere, this may be hollow sphere, this may be what you call disk, this may be ring also. Suppose if you see Goldstein problem, he has taken this one as a ring. Okay, now I'm not discussing whether it is hollow sphere, solid sphere, or something, this big sphere, because this big sphere is not moving. Big sphere is giving only surface for the motion of this one. I hope you understood the problem. Just reply on YouTube. So anyone, at what angle this object is going to leave the surface of this big sphere when it is rolling purely? If it is a particle, again, it should slide without friction. At what angle this particle will leave the surface of this one? Because again, if I just to see the track of this one, again, what would happen is your center of mass may move like this. Okay, so again, if I just see the track, your particle may move like this actually. Okay, so it will not be attached to that surface always. Okay, it's going to leave the surface. Again, you can see this kind of question in TAFR or just exam. So that's why again I wish again I could just explain this one. Okay, that angle theta, again, you can refer Goldstein to what you call how to solve this kind of problem and all. I think Goldstein second chapter. Okay, that theta naught, okay, angle at which this what you call object, again, which is rolling purely, which is going to leave the surface of this big sphere, that angle is equal to cos inverse of 2 by 3 plus I by m into b square. This doesn't depend on radius of this big sphere. That even doesn't depend on the radius of this small sphere also. We shall see that one, where, wait a second, b is the radius of rolling object. Okay, b is the radius of this rolling object. Okay, again, I is the moment of inertia of rolling object about this axis. Okay, about an axis passing through the center of mass perpendicular to the plane of the page, whatever I'm showing. It doesn't matter. Okay, this mass of big sphere doesn't matter. This big sphere is giving only surface. This big sphere only offering some constraint, so that it should not fall like this, it should fall like this only, it should roll like this only. This big sphere surface is friction. Okay, it has a friction, so that it will do some pure rolling. Okay, this big sphere surface is frictionless in this case. Let me take here frictionless. In this case, let me take friction full surface, so that this object will purely roll without slipping. Okay, this mass of big sphere will never come into our discussion, because big sphere is only providing us a surface of constraint, a surface. Is that clear? Now look at here, this b is the radius of this so rolling object. This moment of inertia, I is the moment of inertia of the rolling object about an axis that I am showing here, about an axis passing through this point perpendicular to the page that I am showing. So perpendicular to the screen here. Is that okay? So you should understand what are these quantities, and you can apply this one. You can take moment of inertia about the point of contact also. Okay, there is some idea like that, but again, the formula that I have derived, again using Goldstein ideas, again, so using that formula, just I derived and I just applied and I just cross checked that one. Okay, again with some other problem. You can take what you call moment of inertia about point of contact also. I think you should use some parallel axis theorem or something about point of contact. It is it's a kind of yeah, that's also, that should also give the same answer. Okay, that's what I'm saying. But look at here, in this, while deriving this one, I have taken kinetic energy as kinetic energy of center of mass plus kinetic energy about center of mass. Is that okay? While writing kinetic energy of center of mass, we write half m into velocity of center of mass square plus half I omega square. Okay, where I is the what you call moment of inertia about an axis passing through the center of mass actually. Okay, I have taken again in my Lagrangian method, I have taken kinetic energy like this. This I remained actually. Okay, this I remained in my equation. I just cross check this one. Okay, you can cross check this equation by applying. Again, you can see any other book, so textbook, and you can take the problem and you can apply it. Okay. Now again, if possible, let me upload the theory again. So theoretical discussion of that problem later. Now look at here. Now let me take again the object which is rolling is a solid sphere. Okay, object means this one. Okay, this object that I am talking about, if suppose it's a solid sphere, okay, its moment of inertia about an axis passing through this center of mass and perpendicular to this what you call plane of this surface, that's equal to I is equal to, any idea if it is solid sphere, 2 by 5 m b square. Am I right or not? Anyone quickly reply. Then theta
Yes,
naught
sir.
is equal to cos inverse of 2 by 3 plus 2 by 5 mb square whole divided by mb square. Surprisingly, b also got cancelled, mass also got cancelled. It depends on only on, I think it depends on whether it is a sphere, whether it is a disc, or whether it's a ring or something, because this factor is different for different object. Am I right? If it is disc, I think this is 1 by 2 mb square. Am I right? For a disc, if it's a ring, that is mb square, isn't it? So that's why that's equal to cos inverse of 2 by 3 plus 2 by 5. You can just solve this one. That's equal to cos inverse of 10 by 17. Okay, remember in exam they may define angle with respect to horizontal. Okay, be careful here. They may define angle with respect to horizontal, then your answer may differ pi. So then theta plus pi is equal to 90 degree. Theta plus pi is equal to pi by 2. Okay, so be careful while applying this one. They may define the angle with respect to horizontal. What is that? Again, what is the angle between horizontal line and again distance between this center of this one to center of mass? Okay, this line, at what this angle it's going to leave that one. Okay, they may ask that in this with respect to this angle also. Be careful. I hope you can once you find theta, you can find pi here. Okay, again this theta naught is equal to cos inverse of 10 by 17. Okay, again if it is a solid sphere, if it is a disk, okay, if it is a disk, this again suppose this, if this is a disk which is so rolling like this, so then again its moment of inertia about an axis passing through the center of mass perpendicular to the plane of this screen, so that is nothing but I is equal to m b square by 2. Am I right or not? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Then theta naught is equal to cos inverse of 2 by 3 plus 2 by 3 plus m b square by 2 divided by m b square got cancelled. I think that's equal to cos inverse of 2 by 3 plus 1 by 2. What is this one? Cos inverse of 4 by 7. Am I right? If it's a disk, if it is a ring, okay, if this rolling object is a ring, okay, so then obviously for ring, I hope you know that one. What is I is nothing but m into b square. where b is the radius of the ring, isn't it? So then theta naught is equal to cos inverse of 2 by 3 plus mb square divided by mb square. I think that's equal to cos inverse of 2 by 3 plus 1 4. Cos inverse of 1 by 2. What is cos inverse of 1 by 2? Anyone?
Pi by 3, sir.
Pi by
60
3,
degrees.
60 degree, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Again, now here, again, what does this angle depend on? Just see that one. This angle doesn't depend on the radius of the object. This angle depends on what kind of object it is, whether it's a solid sphere, whether it is a hollow sphere. Again, for hollow sphere, what is the moment of inertia? About an axis
I think it is 2 by 3 mb square.
Yeah, again, it does depend on, I think, what you call, what kind of object it is, okay? Not even the radius of that object. It depends on, again, this factor which comes in the moment of inertia. This factor which decides what kind of object it is, whether it's a hollow sphere, solid sphere, ring, disc, or something, okay? Now we shall try to apply the same formula for this small mass which is sliding, because for mass, again, sliding is equivalent to rolling. Can you just imagine that one? Again, if it is a particle, okay, if it is a particle, then its moment of inertia is equal to 0. Am I right? Can I say like this? For a particle, for a point mass, okay, or for a point mass, your moment of inertia is equal to 0. So then theta naught is equal to cos inverse of 2 by 3. Okay, this is the question that is this part is solved in Goldstein. You can just check it out. Okay, this part is solved in the second chapter of Goldstein, and this question is asked in the outside of Goldstein. And I think this question is asked in TA for exam, but I hope they did the mistake, okay, in the option, or I think they did the mistake while giving the key answer, okay, because I cross checked this one again using one more textbook written by, I think, Sham series theoretical mechanics, where he found this one using Newtonian mechanics. Okay, and again this is a valid one, okay, because I cross checked with couple of book. And if you have any comment, you just post that one, okay, to this video. Again, because in TFR question, as I remember, they did the mistake in key answer. Okay, again, they have given in terms of sine inverse or something, or cos inverse. I think they did the mistake in the key answer. That's what I felt, okay, when I see the SOTFR question. Maybe next time while I'm coming online, let me again grab that question, let me collect that question. Okay, any question on this one quickly? The question is solved using Newtonian mechanics, which takes some effort, okay, which is quite lengthy, by the Sham's outline series theoretical mechanics by Spiegel, okay, by Spiegel. You can just cross check that one. Yeah, again, I wanted to answer that question, okay, Partha. Wait a second, okay. If body has an initial velocity, that's very good question, okay. Yeah, that I haven't given that idea, okay. This was again, this has started with a 0 initial velocity, okay. I think if body starts with some initial velocity, we can solve the problem, but I have to go to the whole derivation that I have done here, okay, because there comes some integration, okay, there comes some integration. In that integration, I have taken, again, that I haven't mentioned, okay, the one more factor that is given is, this was again initially at rest, and it has just what you call started, okay. Again, its initial angular velocity and its initial what you call velocity of center of mass, everything is 0. So thank you so much, Sovik, for that question, because I haven't mentioned that one, okay. So this was started with 0 initial velocity. It was just displaced without any initial velocity. Again, it has started rolling without any initial angular velocity or something, or without any push. It has started rolling, okay. Just what you call so it just moved on. Okay, that initial condition that I applied, okay, while solving, because there comes some integration with respect to theta or something, there I think I have taken theta dot equal to 0 like that. Okay, when time t equal to 0, theta dot equal to 0, that kind of what you call condition that I put over there to get this one. So that's why you can solve the problem if you have initial push, initial angular velocity or something. Definitely you can solve that one. While solving an integral, you should take that initial condition properly. Okay, yeah, I hope you understood the whole problem. So this initial velocity of the center of mass is 0. Again, so theta dot equal to 0 at time t equal to 0. Okay, similarly initial speed of this mass is 0. Okay, so that is the one more condition that is again that should be taken. Okay, yeah, if this is over, let me answer one question that that is asked by Partha, and then I'm going to close the session. Yeah, any doubts here in applying this formula? Cross check with with the theoretical mechanics by Spiegel. So Sham series book. Okay, in that one, let me just quote. I think the chapter. Again, he did the problem using Newtonian mechanics, which is quite lengthy. And Newtonian mechanics is not general, as you may know. I think rigid bodies. Let me quote the page number also, so that you can just cross check this answer. Okay, because I had a very strong discussion on this one regarding TFR question. I argued that TFR answer key was wrong. Okay, this is page number 244 in Schaum's outline series, Theoretical Mechanics by Spiegel. Okay, page number 244. Again, where he found that he has mentioned theta. Again, he found, yeah, sine inverse of 10 by 17, but that theta is what you call measured here. Okay, according to him, he got this one. Pi is equal to sine inverse of 10 by 17. Will this happen in this case? Yeah, again, sine inverse of 10 by 17 plus cos inverse of 10 by 17, that's equal to pi by 2. Yeah, that will happen. Okay, quite disturbance here. Wait for a while. Okay. Is there any angular velocity so that small sphere complete rotation? Yeah, again, small sphere, remember there is an angular velocity for this small sphere. Okay, we again, while doing this one, motion of center of mass, motion about center of mass, definitely we have to take what you call some angular so velocity about the center of mass. Okay, there exists. Okay, and small sphere complete rotation, I'm not getting that one. Can you just elaborate? Are you thinking that it's going to move like this without leaving the surface? It will leave the surface. Okay, it will never move like this. Okay, because again you can argue because of a kind of again after some distance, what would happen is this normal reaction is going to be 0. Okay, again, if you solve the problem, actually we solve the problem for that normal reaction only, normal reaction force only. Again, we equate that normal reaction force to 0 to find when it will leave the surface. Okay, this when this normal reaction is 0, what would happen is this, there will be no what you call attachment of this what you call object on this surface. Actually, are you thinking that it's going to continue this circular motion, this center of mass going to continue this circular motion, Shubham? So it is, so it will not do that one. Okay, it's just like this particle again, which will move like this. That you can feel, isn't it? You can feel, because these are all quite what you call we can experience that, and we can do this kind of what you call experiment. Am I right? We can design this kind of experiment. Definitely, it's going to fall. Yeah, normal force is going to be 0 after some time, and then there will be no more contact between these two. Okay, again, How again, why this is in contact with this one? Because there exists a normal reaction, that when that normal reaction is zero, it's not going to be in contact. And again, even by our common sense, common experience, we can say that this will what you call move like this. The center of mass is going to move like this. Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Again, this is the answer. Okay, again, in TFR question, I think they asked like this, or like this, whatever. As I remember, they gave wrong key answer. You can just cross check that one, because I had a strong argument. Some student argued that TFR question was right, but I have some what you call reference here where it is solved using Newtonian mechanics. Okay, yeah. Anyway, let me continue again, and I have applied this one for a lot of disk and ring and all. This ring problem is a ghost in outside problem. Okay. स्पीयर को बॉटम पॉइंट से कितनी वेलोसिटीज yeah, again, in the TFR question, okay, they haven't mentioned that this big sphere was at rest. Okay, I think that may be the point, that the difference that they might have taken. But if this big sphere is also in motion, the problem would be too lengthy. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Hmm? But if you give any initial velocity for this one, we can just use that one. Okay, we can just use that one in the derivation or something, so to show that one. Okay. I think so, Vic, whatever you are saying, that is a rolling constraint. Okay, b pi is equal to a psi, like that. B pi is equal to a psi. That's a pure rolling constraint. Okay, I think he has taken the radius of this big sphere as I think I don't uh, wait a second. I don't remember which one he has taken, but that's a pure rolling constraint that will happen again, even in Newtonian mechanics or whatever you take, even in Lagrangian mechanics. B pi equal to a psi, whatever you said, that's a Newton again. That's a pure rolling constraint. Okay, again, how again the angle which is what you call which it is rolled, multiplied with b, that's equal to how much distance which with center of mass traveled. I hope we solved many problem regarding that what you call so pure or so rolling constraint. You just refer some more old videos. Okay, I just solved that kind of problem earlier. I just created one playlist. Okay, you can just check out the playlist where I just kept all of my previous class videos. Okay. The same concept will be taken here also. Okay, that pure rolling constraint, that equation will be taken in case of Lagrangian formalism also. Let me try to share that solution. Okay, that's a good interaction. Wait a second, I have one more question that is to be answered here. Okay, then I'm going to close the session. We shall meet tomorrow. That question is Partha. So does same time period for two planets mean equal semi-major axis and equal axis of ellipse? Okay, wait a second. I'm just holding Ghostin. I can't derive it, but I can just say time period is equal to 2 pi a power 3 by 2 whole divided by root of g into m1 plus m2. Okay, or t square proportional to a cube. This is Kepler third law, where t is so time period. Okay, definitely this does depend on what you call this a is actually if you take this as the center of the ellipse, this a is actually your semi major axis. Am I right? B is actually your semi minor axis. Again, we can prove this one. Okay, again, just go through the what you call so Kepler law. This is our Kepler third law. Square of the time period is proportional to cube of the semi major axis. Am I right? Now look at here. In this one, what you asked is the question that you asked is same time period for two planets with the same semi major axis. That is correct. Okay, with if they have same semi major axis, they have same time period, provided masses are also same. where usually we better to write like this. Okay, we better to write m1 is the mass of the, what you call, m is the mass of the planet, and the capital M is the mass of the, what you call, sun. Is that okay? Again here, again it comes m1 plus m2 here. Okay, where capital M is a mass of sun, small m is a mass of what you call, planet. Is that okay? Are you there, Partha? Now when I see this one, look at here, this time period we usually write nearly equal to 2 pi a power 3 by 2 divided by root of g into capital M. Okay, nearly equal to, we just neglect this small mass. Okay, again when you see this formula, again if mass of the planet is same, and if two different planet, if they have same mass and same semi major axis, then definitely the time period would be same, because this equation is exactly derived. Okay, and this is observed actually. This is observed also. But what we do is, again, this mass, this role of this mass of the planet is quite low, because this mass, this is a mass of the sun, this is a mass of the planet, you know the what is the ratio. Okay, that's why we write time period nearly equal to this one. Okay, again that role of mass of that planet is quite low. In that approximation you can say that if semi major axis is same, again time period are almost same. Okay, but nowadays we have accurate measurement that we can just see the effect of this small mass. Yes, Sovik, in case of previous problem, we get the same result. We get the same result, Newtonian and in case of Lagrangian. Okay, I hope you are talking about previous problem, but he's talking about Kepler problem. Okay, Partha was talking about some Kepler problem that I was so trying to solve here. That is, again, if masses are same. Okay, if masses are same, okay, and if semi what you call major axis are same, then time period is same. If masses of the planets are different, then it will vary slightly. Okay, so again actually this equation is approximated like this by neglecting this small mass. Okay, so is that clear? Now look at here, if any of this kind of question appears into your mind, or if any of this question is asked, you should go for equation which is derived, okay, using pure mathematics and law, and from that equation you should able to interpret that one. Okay, again sometimes in exam you may feel that some questions which are purely theoretical, which do not need any mathematical or equations. Okay, but usually those questions may be sometimes designed by keeping some formula or some equation in mind. Okay, again you should remember the dependencies. Okay, usually the question designed on Kepler third law are what you call time period square proportional to what you call cube of the semi major axis. Again they don't ask any question by varying this mass and all actually. But again you should know that one. Okay, you should know that mass of the planet will also come, but its effect is quite small. Approximately you can say both have the same time period, because sun mass is too high. Okay, approximately, and it highly depends on semi major axis. That's what I can quote here. Is that clear? Yeah, if you have any queries or if you have any questions, okay, just send an email. So Partha, you better to reply. Okay, so that I'll just close the session. snbose plg@gmail.com. Okay, remember, if any of this kind of question is asked in interview, if you start with the equation, that would be very nice. Okay, if you start with the equation and if you start interpreting, again there will be no more question that may remain to ask actually. again, if you try to argue logically or with some common sense, again you may end up with some trouble. Okay, that's why in interview try to what you call try it again. If you I'm not expecting you to by heart all formula. Try to remember the dependencies. Okay, just argue using some mathematical equation. That kind of approach would be quite nice in the interview, so that again no more question can be raised on the again no more successive question can be raised. Okay, try to use that one like that. Okay, yes, I hope if you have any more doubt you can just send an email. Some more doubt so have been asked on quantum mechanics or something else. Let me try to answer in the next session. Okay, thank you so much for the discussion. We shall see tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I had some technical difficulties again, so tomorrow I think I can sort that out. Okay, thank you so much for the discussion.